We all know that crime is too high in Newburgh. Gangs, a lot of this is not Newburgh's making. New York City gangs have figured out that if they come to Newburgh, they can do a lot of things that they can't do in New York City because the police force isn't big enough here, given that it's a small city. And you'll see what I'm getting at when we talk to when we get to our main point. Gangs continue to make their way up the Hudson River from major metropolitan areas like New York City, and our local police departments, these gangs know, don't have the kind of personnel that the larger police departments have, and so they come up here and they basically prey on us here in Newburgh. Would that be a fair summation, Mayor?
I think that's
Chief?
Exactly good.
Okay, let's put it in perspective. Newburgh consistently ranks on a per capita basis as one of the highest crime cities in the United States. According to 2013 data from the FBI, even though the population of Newburgh is small, about 29,000, residents have a 1 in 16 chance of being victim of a violent crime or a property crime. 1 in 16. Those are horrible odds, and they're worse than almost any other place in the United States of America. Crime is clearly a serious problem. The city's police force has worked tirelessly to address it. But they don't have the manpower they need to stem the tide of crime along the Hudson River. With property taxes so high, the mayor is in a difficult position, our council people are in a difficult position. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They don't want taxes to go up, but they need police. Now look at this. In 2000, Newburgh's police force was 120 men and women. Today, 77. A significant decline, particularly given how crime has gone up. So when the number of police go down and crime goes up, it's a vicious, vicious cycle. And of those 77 police officers, because of these days, police have to do a whole lot of paperwork and other kinds of things. Our Teamsters, one of our Teamsters estimated to me that about 50 were available for patrol. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate, which isn't bad for a senator, right? No, just teasing. So about 50 can go on patrol. There are just too many emergencies, paperwork backlogs for them to be in every corner and do the things that are needed to fight gangs. One of the things our police officers here in Newburgh...
You have to wait for the train.
It's all right.
It takes first precedence.
Our police officers know, for instance, beating gangs often takes building relationships with the community. That takes manpower. That takes time. So our Newburgh police force, I really feel for them. They do an excellent job. But with so few men and women available, many of them want to get on a train and go to another... No. Our Newburgh police force does an excellent job. I feel for them. But with so much crime and so few men and women available for all the things police officers have to do, it's a tough, tough, tough job. Newburgh is taking action. In an effort to boost their police force, the city has applied for federal funding through the Department of Justice to hire 4 more cops. The city's seeking this funding under the federal cops hiring program. They have my full and unwavering support. The city has identified more foot patrolmen and women as their biggest need. They often only have one at any given time for each area, and these officers would help fill out the ranks and develop relationships in the community. I'm convinced these 4 officers will make a difference, and I pledge here today to fully get behind. I was the author of the Cops Law in 1994. I wrote it. I had the idea of having community policing, which is what we do. And guess who took the idea and ran with it? Some guy named Bill Clinton. And together, I was the author of the crime bill in 1994. I'm a law and order Democrat, a tough on crime guy. And we put in the Cops on the Beat program. So Newburgh has applied for 4. And as somebody who's a senior member of the Judiciary Committee in the Senate, as author of this bill, and one of the people in the Senate who focuses most on fighting crime, I will give it every push that I can, and I'm very hopeful that we can get you those 4 more officers. When there are only 50 on patrol, 4 more foot patrolmen actually increases the force by, figure it out, 4 out of 50, almost 10%. But that's not enough. And the second and even more important thing we're here to say is we need more than just 4. And the chief has told me that in an ideal world, they'd like to apply for 20 officers from the COPS program. But the COPS hiring program put, not me, not the author of the bill, but the bureaucrats, put a cap a few years ago and said you can only apply for up to 5% of your force. 4. 5% of 77 is 4. So they can't apply for any more than 4. The program makes no sense for a city like Newburgh. Small population, but high crime. This arbitrary limit unfairly restricts small cities like Newburgh that have small police forces and high crime. If Newburgh can only apply for funding to hire more police officers based on its current strength, how is it going to be able to hire the force it truly needs to turn crime around, given the fact it's a small city without a large tax base that needs this kind of funding badly? So, the second and more important thing I'm here to do today is to say that I am going to make a major push at the Department of Justice to allow them to calculate crime rate, not just population, in terms of how many cops you can apply for under the COPS, how many police officers you can apply for under the COPS program. That's what I want to push. And then Newburgh could apply for the amount it needs, maybe 20. And that would make a huge difference here to our crime-fighting efforts. Don't get me wrong, the 4 additional officers are needed. We don't gainsay how important they are, but it's not enough. Not enough. It'll make a dent, but not enough of a dent. We want to turn this whole thing around. We want to get crime down and have, instead of a vicious cycle of crime going up, a virtuous cycle of crime going down. 4 police officers may be able to do a little, but it's not enough to turn things around. The kind of policy I'm advocating makes common sense. The DOJ and these COPS grants do a great job providing additional resources to our police department, but if you're a small city with high crime, unintentionally, the formula discriminates against you. And I want to change that for the sake of Newburgh and other small cities with high crime rates. I'm also letting the Department of Justice know that the program needs updating, because the way it's currently structured, it penalizes Newburgh. This 5% limit that they imposed, not in the legislation, we don't need a change in law, we just need DOJ to change their regulations. A city with a crime rate as high as Newburgh should not be restricted from seeking federal funds to hire the number of cops it needs. Every officer makes a difference. If Newburgh were allowed to apply for more funding, we could take a real bite out of crime over here, and I pledge to the mayor, the chief, and all of our elected officials, as well as our union leaders, I'm going to do everything I can to not only get these 4 cops, but change the formula so you can apply for more. And I am going to have the full back.
Senator Schumer, I appreciate you coming up today, especially I think the last time you came here was a day similar to this. It was
Beautiful.
A day, but I really appreciate that. If I could just go over the fact that we are appreciative of the 4 officers in the COPS grant, and even if we shot a bullseye on that program and received those 4 officers, I'm still needing another 20. Their supplemental officers are what we need. I need my 20 officers back. Officers are handling 3,000 calls for service a month. We average about 50 gun calls a month with no reprieve. Our officers work around the clock with minimum shifts, trying to keep up with a rampant pace of dangerous calls. We have neighborhoods that need more than routine motor patrols. We need those additional officers, and we need them now. In the city of Newburgh, policing is all about the numbers. Crime numbers, neighborhood population density. We have an urban environment that becomes subject to crimes against persons and property if not effectively patrolled in day and night with the right numbers. Newburgh is perfectly suited to benefit from and supplement foot patrols in targeted areas. It's the most effective form of preventative, proactive community policing is known. If I had a wish list for patrol, I would ask for 10 two-officer foot posts in specific neighborhoods at specific times to watch over and prevent the disturbances that we have day and night. During recent years, it has become a cost of prohibitive at our city's great loss. A uniformed officer on foot can be both highly visible to the public as well as invisible when needed. A uniformed foot patrol officer has always been the most effective response to any request for community policing, which our city has been starving for. When someone is assigned to a foot post on a continuous basis, community policing is realized and crime prevention has a lasting effect. As an officer on foot, he or she is up close and personal with every element of the community, and they soon gain real-time knowledge of who lives or works on that post as well as who's up to no good. The presence alone of additional foot patrols contributes to a feeling of safety. That's a priceless commodity that everyone deserves here in this city. It's that feeling of safety that is critical, especially to neighborhoods undergoing revitalization and quality of life improvements. In addition to a safer community, these additional patrols provide Newburgh officers with a one-on-one opportunity for understanding what kind of problems can plague a neighborhood, along with more of an opportunity to be a personal part of the solution to those problems. It puts the officers right in the middle of the fix. Officers are no longer tied to patrol cars for radio access, thanks to technology. Foot posts in Newburgh is a proven, intelligent strategy providing a powerful and coordinated response to wrongdoing in neighborhoods in real time. Incorporating foot patrols as part of our department strategy would bring changes that would be unachievable through additional vehicle patrol alone. Foot posts have been critical to policing in the city of Newburgh several times in the past with success. We talked about the 1994 efforts in the COPS program. That was I was here. I was deputy police chief at that time. We added the extra officer. I believe it was about 15 to 20 officers to the post, and it was unbelievable 3 or 4 years. Foot posts have been critical. It's worked. A walking post, if I can just reiterate, a walking post strengthens the bonds between the community members and the officers while providing a coordinated effort to prevent and to solve crime.
Thanks,
Thank
Chief.
you.
And now let's call on our mayor for a few words in her beautiful summery jacket.
Thank you. Thank you.
Not to say that Angie's jacket isn't very nice.
Oh, that's right.
She didn't even wear it.
No comparisons there. First, I just really like to say thank you to Congressman Schumer for coming.
Senator.
Senator, excuse me.
I was a congressman for 18 years and I was very proud of it, so it is not an insult.
That's right. But I just want to say, Senator, it's a pleasure to have you here, and thank you so much. And to
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
I like that. And thank you to Congressman Sean Patrick Maloney as well for being here, for the city manager, and for our two council people for being here, Councilwoman Lee and Councilwoman Angelo. There's so many people coming together to try and solve this problem, and one of them isn't even in front of the camera, and that's our grants writer, Ellen Philo, who has put this grant together on a moment's notice and put this whole effort today into action. And that's what it takes. It takes so much of a team to make things work. It takes our Congress people, it takes our state legislators. We have people here from all over. It takes our Teamsters, it takes our police department. This is a huge effort to turn something around, and getting more police on the street is what makes this city safe. That is a huge, huge step in the right direction, and I so appreciate you taking the 2 steps. One, to get the 4, that's perfect, and the second, to expand that, and I think you're exactly right about the formula for figuring that out really needs to be adjusted. So thank you for that leadership. It's so great.
Thank you, Mayor.
And I want to say that this city is really moving in the right direction. We have these terrible statistics. We have young people shooting each other, and not just here in Newburgh. You know, I had 3 brothers and I have 4 sons. When you turn 12-year-olds loose with guns, things happen that are not meant to happen. And we have got to get in front of that with so many things happening. We've got young people, we've got gangs, we've got all kinds of things here that we need to work on. And police officers walking the beat, getting to know the neighborhoods, getting to know what's going on, know who's supposed to be there and who's not supposed to be there. there is an answer to turning some things around. So I just want to say I'm really, really blessed, humbled that so many people are coming together at the national level, the state level, the local level to sort these things out. Oh, and the county level. I don't want to forget the county. Because it takes all these levels to solve the problems that we have here, and we're doing it. Thank you, and thank you to everybody involved. It's so much appreciated.